Hi everybody and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host Nancy Byrne and we are coming to you from the gallery inside the Charleston Heights Arts Center. I'm not wearing a mask because I'm far enough away from my photographer Steve Horlock, and we're in here at a time when no one else is here. Literally the doors are closed. We're going to tell you more about this exhibit a little bit later on in the show, but first we probably don't have to tell you that it's been about a year since there was in-class learning. Well, that all changed March 1st when some students on a limited basis were welcomed back to school. Pre-K through third grade had a choice of going Monday and Tuesday or Thursday and Friday or continuing at home learning. We were at Wangert Elementary School on March 1st when kids came back, and to say that it looked like a celebration is an understatement. A huge welcoming lawn sign, colorful posters with welcome back messages hung on fencing, music, balloons. Lots of balloons. You could actually feel the excitement in the air here at Wangert Elementary School as teachers and staff prepared to open their doors to the kids after nearly a year.
We're ready. We're excited.
Even Principal Kim Swoboda was outside decorating for the students. Taking a brief break in between decorating and greeting kids and parents, she spoke with the many members of the media here to capture this day.
We've just been waiting for this day, and it is great to have at least some of our pre-kindergarten through third grade students coming back today, and we can't wait for the day that we've got everybody back.
And if you think the school staff was excited, well, many parents could hardly contain their enthusiasm. Andrea Delgado is here to drop off her 8-year-old daughter, Camilla.
I couldn't wait, and she really couldn't wait to be back. She loves school. She loves school at home, but she loves school, like physical school.
She says for Camilla, learning from home just wasn't the same as being with her teacher and fellow students.
It's been hard, really hard. It's been hard. She doesn't focus the same when she's at home. School is a school. Home is home. Home is to play. Home is to do whatever they want. School is just to study.
Making the rounds at some of the schools was Superintendent Dr. Jesus Jara. He wanted to be front and center to see the excitement as well.
Let me say this: it's been a tough year for everybody in this community, but we've stayed and persevere to get to where today we are today as a school system for this community. Look, I've been saying it all along, our children need to be in front of our hardworking educators, and this is the first step.
The school district's guidelines of social distancing, face coverings, maximum capacity in all rooms, and having a drop-off place for parents to limit the number of people on campus will continue to be an adjustment. But the schools are strictly sticking to all the rules to keep everyone safe.
The district has worked so hard to put out messaging for the last 2 weeks through the media of this is what you can expect, and this is what classrooms look like, and this is what we're doing for students who are not feeling well. This is what we're doing, across as many situations as we can possibly describe to families so that they feel comfortable and know that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that health and safety for everyone is first priority.
For example, she understands the apprehension some moms and dads may have had dropping their children off, but she feels seeing how safe it was on this first day eased the worries of the parents she spoke with, and she plans to keep those lines of communication open.
I think it was convenient for parents. They saw that we have a lot of staff dedicated to make sure that all children get to where they need to get. So for me, I think that it went very well. I do want to talk with my staff and talk with our parents to make sure that that is also their perspective.
Opening day jitters were expected, but overall, school leaders feel day one went well and was a big step toward getting back to normal.
They're just nervous. They're a little nervous seeing their little ones, coming to school, but there's a level of excitement as well. And the kids are just not transitioning from being on a computer, seeing their friends, and they get to see them. One kid said, it's going to be different because now I got to be social distance. I can't get close. I said, well, we'll get to that point.
Let's face it, we all went into education to be with kids and to teach kids. And so for us, it's just so exciting to have them back on campus and to be able to help them.
So March 1st was really the first step in getting back to normal at CCSD. All grades were introduced back into the schedule on a staggered basis through April 6th. So as of April 6th, every grade is represented in some way or another at one of our schools. So are you ready for our, 20 minutes of spring here in the Valley before we hit triple-digit weather? I'm kidding, of course, but everyone knows this is one of the nicest times to be outside. Coincidentally, March is also Traumatic Brain Injury Awareness Month because of increased activities outside. We stopped at Las Vegas Fire and Rescue and spoke to a first responder about the devastating statistics and found out that if your sport involves wheels or almost any kind of contact, you need a helmet. Whenever Jacob Denon straps on his rollerblades for hockey, he knows he'll also be strapping on his helmet. It's not only required by his coach and his parents, it's the smart thing to do. Without the helmet, he's vulnerable to a traumatic brain injury upon a fall, which, by the way, is one of the leading causes of death in kids 17 years and younger.
Over 800,000 children go to the ER every year for traumatic brain injuries, and almost 2,500 children die every year from it. So, and it's completely preventable. You can put a helmet on your child. You can get helmets fairly cheap for $10 to $15.
As a first responder, a parent of two very active sons, and information officer with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Melanie knows the importance of not only wearing helmets, but making sure they fit correctly.
If it's too big, it'll come off, it'll bounce or slide off because it doesn't fit tightly under the chin. And if it's too small, it sits up too high on the head and doesn't properly protect the front and the back lower section of the head.
She demonstrates how to fit a helmet using her other active son, Logan.
2 fingers right above their eyebrows, and you want the helmet to come down to a minimum of that, if not more. You also want to make sure that it comes down and it covers the back of their head so that if they fall backwards, it's going to hit here and not here because their helmet's not fitted properly. You also want to make sure that when it's fitted, that the strap is tight enough so that they can swallow. It's going to feel tight, but they should be able to swallow easily, but that it's not going to bounce off their head should they fall down. Because kids will bounce, the helmet will come off, and they'll bounce a second time.
She says it's not just kids and athletes who are at risk of brain injuries. Another segment of our population that is vulnerable is seniors.
With elderly, it's usually from trip and falls, and they're more prone to, brain bleeds and whatnot. So, it's Traumatic Brain Injury Month. We need to worry about children wearing helmets, but older adults need to take trip hazards out of their homes. Too many rugs, uneven surfaces between carpeting and wood flooring, stuff like that.
Even if a fall is not fatal, falls can lead to concussions, and one or multiple concussions can cause long-term damage to the brain. Here is an easy way to remember the signs and symptoms of a concussion.
It's called HEADS, H-E-A-D-S. It's appropriate. So H is for headache or vomiting. E is for ears ringing. They'll get ringing in their ears. A is for like altered mental status or loss of consciousness. D can be dizziness or double vision. They can get blurred vision, double vision, dizziness. And S is something's just not right about them. You're talking to them, they may have slurred speech, they may not seem right, they seem dazed.
As a first responder, Melanie knows the importance of protecting the brain and how a fun day at the park on a scooter can become a tragedy. As a parent, she knows the helmet discussion can be a challenge. But as she sees it, and you can help your kids see it as well, helmets can't be bad if some of the baddest people we know also wear them.
If you look at any pro sport, they all have helmets. Baseball, football, hockey, any high impact sport, they're going to have helmets on. And so, if the pros are wearing them, we should be wearing them too. We can be like the Knights and we can be like the Raiders. We can be safe and we can wear helmets.
Something very important to keep in mind: if you are with someone who has fallen or taken a hit to the head and they show any of those signs or symptoms, at the very least, they'll need to go to quick care, if not the emergency room. Well, March is not only Traumatic Brain Injury Awareness Month, it's also the month that we here in Nevada celebrate reading. When we come back, we're going to show you how our community encourages kids to open up books.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
Welcome back to City Beat from the Art Gallery inside Charleston Heights Art Center. We're going to talk about this great exhibit a little bit later on. But first, you know, there's a lot of activities that go on in the state of Nevada for Nevada Reading Week, and a lot of activities that go on right here in the city of Las Vegas, all aimed at getting kids excited about reading. Right now, Sue Levitt takes us to a program that for 5 years in a row enabled kids to get free haircut. But the catch is they had to pick up a book.
The Bear family was going on a picnic. Mama and Papa packed the picnic.
You won't see kids holding their phones or tablets today, but instead reading to their hairdressers. It's all to promote Nevada Reading Week.
Come on, sis. Let's find a good picnic spot.
It all began in 2016 when the late Assemblyman Tyrone Thompson, came to the city of Las Vegas with a very simple idea about putting books in barbershops to promote literacy. As a community, we struggle with literacy, especially for our children who live within the urban core and children of color. We see the word gap, we see them struggle, on their test scores, so it was a way to really wrap around and support our kids.
While in the chair, kids get to read a new book that they maybe haven't read before, and when they're finished, discuss what the book is about.
Yeah, they couldn't find a picnic? What kind of soup was it? It was nasty soup. They didn't like it, huh? Yeah.
My personal experience with this right here, I had a problem with reading actually growing up myself. I like to play and do things outside, so more so I didn't want to get into a book. So now, therefore, if I can go back and reach back and help another individual actually before they want to get into the tablets, which is not playing outside now, to actually get back into reading, before they won't fall short of whatever's got the life have them in head without the reading part of about it, I'm most definitely with that right there. Education is the key to everything, everybody's success. Education is it.
Hairdressers hope that the incentive not only gets the kids excited about reading today, but will instill in them a love for reading forever.
It's not just the event today, but moving forward, I want kids to love reading. I think that's so important. We know from pre-K to third grade, kids are learning to read, but after third grade, they're reading to learn. So I want them to feel comfortable reading a book because I know that's going to help them for the rest of their lives. So if we can cultivate that today, that's all I can really ask for.
Who wouldn't like free stuff, right? So free haircuts is a good plus to this. And then reading a book, It actually makes me feel good, because I can say that I actually helped out, in my community, rather than just, keeping my knowledge or my experience trait to myself.
And not only the barbers here at Masterpiece Barber College, but stylists all around the city participate with the hope that reading will become more of a habit when the kids leave and go home.
So when you're older, you can read harder books and know more about reading.
For City Beat, I'm Sue Levitt.
Thank you, Sue Levitt, for that story. Did you know that there are little libraries at more than a dozen locations across our community? Well, there are, and 6 new ones recently opened in honor of Nevada Reading Week. The idea is to make books available where typically they're scarce. We were at historic West Side School recently when the ribbon was cut on one of the latest little libraries. When you open a book, you open the door to the world. Through reading, you can visit places in your mind you may not be able to physically visit. And all the while, you're learning. And now those adventures can start right here in our own backyard thanks to 13 little libraries.
Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate you coming out to the historic West Side.
One of the latest to be installed was right outside the historic West Side School.
Little libraries play an essential role by providing 24/7 access to books and encouraging a love of reading in areas where books tend to be far too scarce.
The idea behind these little boxes is to encourage people to take a book and leave a book. And the idea behind making them so colorful is to make them inviting and not intimidating. The Kiwanis Club of the Las Vegas Strip is one of the great community partners in this effort.
We decided to create our Kiwanis Little Libraries, but not just a square box made out of steel. We wanted it to be attractive, decorative, well-constructed, and the sort of product that in this neighborhood or in any neighborhood, the people in that neighborhood could say, that's mine. I'm going to take ownership of this and make it part of our community.
And the locations for the little libraries are carefully chosen so that no matter what part of the city you live in, a book is not a luxury, it's accessible to all. Spread the Word Nevada is another one of the community partners that help keep these libraries stocked.
And we're here in the Valley. We certainly have some book deserts, and that's what we're trying to fill, is make sure that we don't have we live in the desert, but we don't want book deserts. We want kids to have access to books wherever they are.
3, 2, 1.
So with the cutting of the ribbon, this little library was open for business and filled with books for all ages, particularly for children. Books that can be enjoyed and shared with family and friends.
I'm a big believer in reading books. I have yet to read a book on my tablet or phone or computer or what have you. I just think that there's a joy in having a book in your hand. And I also think there's a joy of passing a book on to someone else and paying it forward. You really can't do that, I think, with the digital side of it. Or whether you donate it to the library, donate it to us, or just give it to a friend.
To find out the locations of all of the little libraries, you can go to lasvegasnevada.gov/news. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to tell you all about all the art hanging on these walls around me.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Our family is no less than any other family.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Welcome back to City Beat from Charleston Heights Arts Center. You know, every year our Office of Cultural Affairs holds a great juried show called Celebrating Life. It's for artists in our area who are 50 years old or better. All types of media are welcome: photography, drawing, painting, mixed. We're going to tell you how you can enter if you're interested a little bit later. But first, we want to talk about a prelude to that show. It's called the Masters Exhibit, and that's where we are right now. Welcome to the Celebrating Life Masters Exhibit. The two artists featured here at the Charleston Heights Art Gallery are previous winners of several awards at past shows. Jeannie Voltura is the gallery specialist with the Office of Cultural Affairs with the City of Las Vegas. And she says this show really has a twofold purpose: to show off the amazing talent of our artists and to inspire other artists.
This show is related to the juried exhibit in that these people that are in this show have won awards over the last 20 plus years, and they have a cohesive body of work. And what I do is I try to put people's work together that will kind of keep the audience involved with it, and also to make the other participants in the Celebrating Life juried show take notice of a cohesive body of work and what that looks like. Sometimes people just put in what they're working on at home informally, and so maybe makes them think about what's the strongest work I can put in there. That's really what it should do, because that's how you win awards. That's what the jurors are usually looking for.
When putting together an exhibit, the Office of Cultural Affairs will often put out a call to artists with a theme in mind. Since Celebrating Life is really for all artists 50 years or better, the theme is just that: celebrating life a little later in life. All medias are welcome, paint to photography. For this particular show, Jeannie liked the idea of mixing the artist's use of black and white along with pops of color. She tells us about the two featured artists.
One of the artists is Robert Oberman. He's a photographer, and he goes around to different places that are unique and interesting. In this exhibit, he's focusing on nature and people, but he's also gone to different places like bars and stuff and shown that kind of lifestyle which is really interesting when you start looking at what's up in old bars out in the middle of the desert, that kind of thing. And then the other artist is Manfred Peter O'Hare, and he teaches for the community college. And he's a mixed media artist. He uses a lot of things that you can find in like probably Michael's and maybe around your house and things like that, and puts them in a cohesive format.
If you'd like to come check out this exhibit, which leads up to the Celebrating Life Juried Show, Charleston Heights Art Center is open Monday through Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. You don't have to be an artist to find inspiration in this show. Everyone is welcome here to celebrate life with those who are artists. If you're interested in entering or just want more information, call 702-229-ARTS. Okay, how about taking a look at some art outside, courtesy of Mother Nature? Even though spring is short-lived in our area, it is a beautiful time, so we thought we'd hop outside and capture some photos and share them with you. A big thanks to all of our co-workers in the communications department who chipped in photos of their own. By the way, spring officially arrives at 5:37 a.m. on March 20th. Well, as we said at the beginning of this program, it's really hard to believe that it's been a year since the coronavirus literally shut down our world. As we say goodbye to you now, we want to share with you this little montage about that devastating time, but how we recovered and pulled together, and how now we may be seeing the end of that turbulent road. We'll see you for the next City Beat. You need only look at our normally busy and bustling city shut down and darkened to understand the gravity of this situation.
Our parks and trails and open space are open for business in the city of Las Vegas. But we encourage people to keep your social distance, don't gather in large groups, but come out and enjoy the parks because we really need to in this day and age.
I'd like to say to increase joy within the community during this really unusual time.
We realize these are real tough times for small business with the governor's directive to close non-essential businesses and businesses needing to close for an extended period of time. And we were hearing from our business partners in the community that they needed to protect their businesses and their storefronts. So we created this program called Business Protection Program.
First one is make sure your oven's on at 400 degrees to warm up bread. I have 11 staff on to do this. I mean, most places, we got our PPP funds, so we're using them. We're using them to keep everyone working, keeping everyone moving forward. If we were able, honestly, if we had more refrigeration space, we'd do more kits and we'd be able to bring back more people.
I'm gonna be here, even if it's just me. I'll be the one-man pizza show,
here doing what I have to do, but I feel there's an obligation to the community and to my loyal regular customers and to the staff that need work.
The single most important thing that we can do, the single most important thing we got to get right is protecting the health and safety of our customers, our team members in the community.
And if you're out and about in downtown Las Vegas, you now have another option. Drop off your mail-in ballot at City Hall. We're offering the drop-off service Monday through Thursday from 7 to 5:30. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, we're actually moving a little.
Yay! I can taste the swab.
8, 9, and 10. Okay.
That was the longest 10 seconds of my life. Maybe a long 10 seconds, but worth it, knowing it will help in the long run with testing and possible tracing.
When you do walk in, you'll get your temperature checked, and we'll direct you towards your line, whether it's registered, unregistered, or if you're feeling sick that day. We also have a line for that.
And even with the limitations put on us during this pandemic, we vowed to carry on with our ceremony.
Angela Gomez, 20, from Riverside, California.
Austin Davis,